Men are being arrested for playing games together. So that's just the dystopia we are currently living in. You have men that are being thrown in jail right now for playing games with one another. The F to the B to the I is currently monitoring and setting up new procedures to regulate the gaming community, to control what you're allowed to say versus what you are not allowed to say. They are recording virtually every conversation that gamers are having. This is specifically to target young men and men in general that are part of the community known as the manosphere. They have these safeguards in place on social media already. However, they're very furious that more has not been done to put these procedures in place in the gaming community, spaces where young men go to communicate with one another. So now they're actively working with anywhere from dozens to hundreds of companies, gaming companies, including all of the large gaming companies, to put these policies in place, including having backdoors, being able to record everything and anything said using artificial intelligence to track what you're saying and what you're doing in these spaces. And they are specifically targeting young men in these spaces, men in general, because they are very concerned about the kinds of communications that are being had between men in private settings. We're going to go ahead and check out some of these videos because they really illustrate the situation a lot better and it shows us what's happening.
About this story through my friend Isabel Brown. She posted it on her Instagram, and whoo boy, the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security have decided to start coordinating with different gaming companies so that they can root out extremist content and behaviors.
Sorry, Call of Duty fans. The Government Accountability Office says that the FBI and DHS should use the same strategy that allowed them to police extremism on social media to regulate the gaming industry.
Don't they have more important things to be doing? Anyway, Intercept was the first to write about this, and they went into more detail, saying the gaming companies are coordinating with the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security to root out so-called domestic violent terrorist content, doing God's work. This article also quoted Hassan Piker. It might be one of the only times that I've remotely agreed with him, but he said, all I can think of is the awful track record of the FBI when it comes to identifying extremism, said Hassan Piker. They're much better at finding vulnerable teenagers with mental disabilities to take advantage of. I mean, yes, and saying that their track record is awful is just putting it mildly. Another guy commented and he said, isn't this good? Am I missing something? Okay, you sweet, sweet spring chicken.
I mean, this is the reality we now live in, where they want to control you. They want to control everything you say, everything you do, and you'll be under surveillance, at all times of the day. If you have a cell phone, they are monitoring where you are. They are monitoring what you're doing. If you have if you have a speaker or smart home device, they're looking at the questions that you ask. They're keeping track of the information you're looking for. If you, I mean, you use Google, you use search engines, you use social media. They're looking at the things that you're searching for. They want to know the kinds of food that you're eating. They're basically trying to build a profile on you and learning how to keep you controlled, keep you basically asleep so that you do not do anything that irks them or prevents them from being able to do the things that they want to do in society. It's about control. I mean, this is one of the reasons why they're moving towards a world where you will own nothing and be happy. You cannot own video games anymore. They can take those away from you at any time. We're seeing what's happening, not just video games, media in general. People who bought videos on Amazon, boop, they just snatch those away. People who bought digital ebooks, because most people that read books now use ebooks, they just snatch it away right off your device, gone. Everything. So it doesn't matter if you buy anything, you don't actually own it. What you're getting access is to a license, and they just take it away whenever they choose to. Many of these newer devices now too, you might think, well, if it doesn't have an internet connection, I'm okay. They're actually being designed in such a way that they can connect to mesh networks. Amazon devices, they are built in with these mesh networks now, so they can connect to other devices within a proximity that are similar. So, for example, if you have an Alexa smart home device, and these devices can connect to other Amazon devices within a proximity, maybe even within a short proximity, even and potentially even phones that are just running these devices, and it can use those internet connections to exchange information. So even if you are not connected to the internet, on your, let's say, your Kindle device, it doesn't matter, because it will just look for a mesh network, another similar device close by, and it'll use that to remove the to remove your content and and brick your device, because it's basically just sending small amounts of packets of data back and forth. This is the world that we are now living in. It's a frightening world.
I just indicted 3 people because of their Xbox 360 voice chats.
This is the reality. They don't, guys. They don't really need any proof. They just need a reason. Yeah, like, this smells like this smells like guys who don't like freedom. We need to do something about it. This is how it is. We have no freedom. I've said this before. I'll say it again. The Constitution, those Bill of Rights, those aren't rights, those are privileges. George Carlin, towards the end of his life, he didn't care about making us laugh anymore. He just had some things that he needed to tell us. He got to a point at the end of his life where he stopped trying to make us laugh. And if you watch his comedy specials, it was always insane. I would watch his comedy specials, and he would say these things and people would laugh, and then he would go on Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher, and he would say the exact same thing and no one would laugh. And that's the craziest thing. People didn't realize, bro, he said the exact same thing in a comedy special. He wasn't trying to be funny. He said it in the exact same way. People laughed. Then goes on Politically Incorrect. That was with Bill Maher back in the 1990s. He says the exact same thing. No one laughs because it's serious. It's serious. He was trying to warn us about what to say. And you know who else he warned us about? He warned us about the boomers. He warned us about the boomers, and the boomers don't like it. Oh, they don't like it. He said these kinds of people just do it. He said these are cold, callous people. That's what he said about them. He was a part of the silent generation, and he told us about the boomers. He told us how bad they were. Okay, and they went for them and their damn Haagen-Dazs. Come on, like, guys, Nike is not millennial. Nike is not Gen X. Nike is boomers. Just do it. Oh my goodness, I tell you.
Federal government just needs to find any single way just to watch everything you're doing. The FBI and the DHS partner with gaming companies to fight, quote, extremist gamers. According to the Government Accountability Office, a nonpartisan agency that audits other government departments on behalf of Congress, the FBI and DHS should use the same strategies that allow them to police extremism on social media to regulate the gaming industry. So they've partnered up with 5 different entities. 2 remain anonymous, but 3 are Roblox, Discord, and Reddit. The United States government currently categorizes violent extremist incidents into 5 distinct groups based on motivation: race and ethnicity, anti-government or anti-authority sentiment. So if you don't like the government, then you're an extremist. Animal rights or environmental sentiment. Abortion-related issues. Like, could that be more vague? Is that like pro-abortion, against abortion? What is that? And other domestic terrorism threats not otherwise defined. So anything, they just deem it. And it goes into a little more detail here.
So guys, think about this very carefully. So notice, if you say anything about that, that they don't like regarding a specific ethnic group, and I'm telling you that's not just ethnicity, it also goes to gender. Oh, that means that means you need to have your account shut down. Bad boy. Don't make you made a joke about girls. Guys, the stuff that you would basically hear children saying when you were growing up, like stupid stuff. Oh, girls have cooties. Oh no, that's extremist stuff right there, man. You need to have your account shut down, and you need to be prosecuted. Okay, anti-government or anti-authority. Think about that. So you make statements about the government that they don't like. That's freedom of, guys. Here's the craziest thing. While that speech is protected, this is how crazy it is. While that speech may be protected by the First Amendment, it is not protected in private spaces. So, for example, speech on YouTube is not protected because YouTube is a private company. What the government is doing is they're going to private companies and they are limiting speech and policing speech because using using the fact that these are private companies. So they're saying, well, because you're a private company, you're not held to the same standards that a public institution would be held to. People don't have freedom of speech, have the expectation of freedom of speech in a private setting. In other words, we can do whatever we want here. It's a government's it's a complete dream for them, and they've been doing that with social media. They've been doing that with many private companies where they're infringing on our rights by saying, well, you're not entitled to those rights in a private setting. The corp and they basically they basically work in conjunction with these corporations to take away our rights and our freedoms, and they do it on the grounds that you do not have rights or freedoms in these private environments or on these art services that are held privately. You do not have the expectation of any of these freedoms whatsoever. That's one of the reasons why you see people that are prosecuted on they're found innocent in a court of law, but then they are prosecuted on a college campus. They're not given the same rights or the same protections on a college campus as they are in society. They can't even have their attorney can't even ask questions, and then basically then they're punished, sometimes expelled from university. The only thing that helps some of these young students is the fact that these universities are receiving public money, and because they're receiving public money, there is a certain expectation there, and as a result, that's when the courts can get involved. But beyond that, no. In a setting like this where you're playing games online, they can basically do whatever they want. They can surveil you. They can record your speech. They can take away they can say, okay, well, this person shouldn't be on the platform anymore, and that's the end of that. And these companies don't even have to tell you why your account has been shut down, why your ability to play games has been taken away. They don't have to do any of that. They do not have to do any of that whatsoever. They can just snatch everything away. And these consoles, these PlayStations, and all these devices, even our cell phones, Apple, these companies, they can brick them. One thing that we haven't like this is something Nintendo can brick your Nintendo Switch. They can brick your Nintendo Switch. They do it all the time. For example, if they detect that you have a chip in there that's allowing you to play their games illegally, or against our backed up games, they'll brick your console. They'll ban you from being able to access, to use the digital store. And if you've purchased most of your games digitally, then they will ban that specific Nintendo Switch, and that specific Nintendo Switch can never be used again. And it's not an extreme example. It's for example, the PlayStation 5 right now, you have a disk drive, right? A detachable disk drive with the new slim models, and you need an internet connection to use the disk drive. Why would you need an internet connection to use the disk drive on the PlayStation 5? That makes absolutely no sense, other than them retaining the ability to stop you from playing your games. So what they're doing is they're targeting the hardware itself now. So even if you have the software, they target the hardware, they brick the hardware, so you lose the ability to access the software using the hardware, and you need an internet connection to use the hardware. You will own nothing and be happy. This is 1984, 100%. By the way, guys, don't forget I have a channel called Angry, where I discuss gaming, anime, geek stuff, nerd stuff, real world stuff, and whatever else interests me. There's a link to that channel in the description of the video. Go check it out, subscribe, and support my work. I also have another channel called Men Walking Away, where I discuss videos like this one. So if you're enjoying this video and you want to see more videos like this one, go and check that channel out, subscribe to that channel, support my work, and subscribe to the other one. You can find links to both channels in the description of the video. I mean, what do you guys think about this? Men are being arrested for playing games together. They don't want us to communicate. They don't want us to talk amongst one another. That's why they're doing this. I want to know your thoughts on this, so let's talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA and walking away. And cheers.